We didn't know immediately that it was a passenger jet. The rumor was that it was a cargo jet, and certainly we were hoping that that was the case. But then once we were on the scene and there for a few minutes, and you saw the debris and you also saw some of the remains, it was very, very obvious that it was a large commercial airplane, passenger jet. And it was just a devastating scene. I remember walking the scene for quite some time. The entire field, there was an open field, and the entire field was on fire because of the amount of jet fuel that was on board. The plane pretty much had landed, crashed in the open field area with the debris of the aircraft then going into the trailer park, which was right next door. One of the things I remember was the rut in the ground. There was a long rut in the ground where the wing, because the jet had, of course we saw it on a picture later that next day, the jet had completely gone 180 degrees up, and when it hit, the wing hit first, the left wing hit first, and it dragged into the ground before it made the major impact, the fuselage impacted. There was not a lot of noticeable or recognizable debris. It was just the aircraft had pretty much disintegrated on impact and the explosion because of the jet fuel. The fire service had not really gotten much of the assets that we have today with the critical incident stress debriefing, which is very popular today and really is needed. We really didn't have that back in 1979. If it was there, it was very new, and so we really relied on each other to get each other through that. When we came back to the station, I can remember some of the dark humor that was used just to cope. It was a coping mechanism. The devastation, the tremendous loss of life, I think even today it still stands as the worst air crash in the history of the United States. And that really stays with you, and it stayed to this day. I went back to the scene and just to kind of see where I had been and see what it looked like now that the fire was out, and I can remember that next day they had stakes in the ground all over where remains of the passengers were found.